sure? Because I've got.
Yeah.
And I brought just for you. I brought up.
Yeah, The Last Command. I think about that album a lot because I used to listen to it on cassette. I used to steal my dad's cassettes and listen to them, you know. And that was one that I played the fuck out of.
So this is the original album. So I just want to say, this is the original album when it came out, and nowhere on this album is "Fuck Like a Beast."
Really?
No, and it's just funny to me that they lumped that into the 40-year thing because the original, the "Fuck Like a Beast" came out as a EP. So
they slapped it on the front of that album.
Yeah, so they slapped the song on the first song just to tie it in there because it was like the song that started.
Did they do that like amidst the PMRC controversy? Did they add it?
It just
they added it after that. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit before, but like W.A.S.P was one of those bands back in that day that were definitely pushing the envelope. Like no one was doing. Everyone we've talked to about it has been like, oh yeah, like when we talked to Eric Peterson the other day and you brought it up, he was like, of course I had the W.A.S.P records.
And that's funny because I like sometimes I like question myself. Even when we were talking to what's his name, I was like,
Ulrich. Ulrich Wilde, yeah.
Should I ask him about this? And I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna ask him. And so I asked him, and he's like, yeah, I remember that.
Of course. he's like, yeah, of course.
You know?
Anyone who listened to rock in the early 80s had that record or had listened to it at least.
Yeah, so I threw together a few clips from that time period just to kind of prep, you know, give us a little bit of what it was like back during then. So
throw them up.
Room service?
What took you so long? Give me that stuff.
There you go.
Yeah.
I thought you said orange just before. Where's
the other two under the bed here, so just don't worry about it. Don't get away from there. It's all right.
When you first started this band, when you first got into rock and roll, did you anticipate that so much of the work would involve doing this sort of thing, doing interviews and relating all the private details of your life?
I mean, stop a second. Look at this. You call this work? I mean, you know, was it good for you, baby? It was great for me. I know that. You know?
Did the earth move?
And you think it's always girls, huh?
I thought it was a big party.
Just have another drink and forget about it, right? You don't care. That's right.
Mom, have a drink.
Chris, do you drink very much?
Pardon?
Do you drink very much?
Yes, I do. I'm a full-blown alcoholic.
Just when he's awake.
Just when he's awake.
I drink.
His mom.
Okay. Why do you drink that much?
Because I enjoy it.
Do you think rock and roll lifestyle turned you into an alcoholic?
Yes, it does.
How much of that do you drink a day?
About 5 pints.
Of vodka?
Yeah. 5 quarts, pints, who cares? Yeah, I'm a happy camper. If you can tour 1 year, it'll take 4 years off your life.
Why do you get so loaded, though?
Well, because it's the only thing that lets me get free, you know?
You think you might be covering up some pain?
Yeah, a little bit.
Where would that be from, I wonder?
Oh, here.
He doesn't even hesitate. He's like, yeah.
Sure.
Let's not avoid the issue. What would that be from?
Like when people ask who hurt you.
Okay, here.
Yeah.
Watch.
Do you wish, Chris,
Jesus Christ.
you were a bigger star than you are right now?
Do I wish what?
That you were a bigger star than you are?
Not really. I wish I was a smaller star. I don't dig being the person I am. And
he kind of looks like Kurt Cobain from that angle.
He does.
I just being the person who says like, excuse me. Being who I am is just like, here what?
His mom.
The outrageous edge of rock and roll has shifted its focus from Elvis's pelvis
to the saw protruding from Blackie Lawless's codpiece on a W.A.S.P album.
I got this glint in my eye whenever I'm performing, which keeps people off balance where they're asking, is he or isn't he serious about this? Those people have obviously never seen that glint. I mean, how can any grown man walk around with a 12-inch saw blade between his legs and take that seriously?
How can radio stations broadcasting across the country be scared of a bunch of assholes like the PMRC? And what do you really think they're going to stop? These people would get laughed off the face of the fucking earth in England. I can't understand it.
They wouldn't last 2 days in England.
I cannot understand it. I just don't believe that anybody could attach any importance to what a bunch of shitheads like that have to say.
Let me give you a scenario.
So tell me about ratings, because we didn't ask for
I'll give you a scenario, okay? If I recorded a Madonna song, okay? No, let me change it. If I recorded a song that talked about a person who was downtrodden in life, just nobody would give him a chance, and he was suicidal. If Ozzy Osbourne records it, that's offensive. But if Donny Osmond records it, it's offensive.
Good point. That's so true though. Like if Donny Osmond records it, it's affectionate and it's a feel good story. But if Ozzy Osbourne records it, it's offensive.
Yeah, people made that comparison back in the day too with country music. It's like it's all about like, oh, my wife cheated on me, so I went and shot him and her lover or whatever, and like no one cared about that. But
so, Dryden, did you listen to that first W.A.S.P album?
I did. Yeah, it was interesting because I wasn't expecting that, honestly. But
well, I mean, what were you expecting?
Like, I guess I haven't listened to enough like of that era of music, but from my understanding, a lot of that, I just wasn't very fond of a lot of that kind of music, and I actually dug a lot of the songs on that record, so it was interesting to like the first song. I mean, on Spotify when I listened to it, you were just saying they put it on Animal or Fuck Like a Beast on there, but that was the first song on there, so I was like, oh damn. Like, I got pictures of naked ladies.
Yeah. Right out the gate.
Yeah, so it was good. I liked it.
W.A.S.P was also like there was a lot of bands in that era that were quote unquote posers.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of getting at.
There is a lot of that, yeah. But W.A.S.P was like one of the first, like they were like the hard, like W.A.S.P, Guns N' Roses, early Motley Crue.
Even though they have that like glam kind of aesthetic, they're still kind of like, they have that like metal kind of vibe to them.
Blackie has a hard ass voice too.
Yeah,
his voice is fucking badass.
Yeah, and the guitar work is, I mean, the drum, all the musicianship is pretty awesome on there too. Like some of the guitar stuff is great.
Chris Holmes. I love that she's like, do you think you're covering up some pain? And he's like, yeah. He doesn't. He didn't even. It's like she's like, do you think you're covering? He's like, yeah.
So it wasn't until 1990. It wasn't until the 1998 CD reissue that they put "Fuck Like a Beast" on there. So
okay, yeah. So on Spotify and all that shit, it's just on there already. So that's how I heard it.
I mean, really, you listen to the album. And there's only one thing that album's about. It's about sex. Yeah. I mean,
what
really.
is W.A.S.P? They have like dots after it. Does it have like a meaning?
Yeah. It was originally stood for "We Are Sexual Perverts."
Okay.
Yeah, we are sexual perverts. Yeah.
And then the PMRC twisted it into "We Are Satan's People."
Well, that's funny.
So I was thinking about this the other day because I have the 70s playlist and it has some Kiss on it. It has like "I Was Made for Loving You," which is a great song, like a classic rock song.
Yeah.
When that comes on, I was just thinking about how I remember when I was a kid, people were like, "Oh, Kiss stands for Knights in Satan's Service."
Yeah.
I'm like, really? Like, if you listen to their lyrics, dude. I was made for loving you, baby. Exactly. You were made for loving me, Satan.
So I mean, for me, that this first album is a great album for like. It's not like Dustin and I agree that the Last Command is probably a better album, but this is a great first album for any band.
I don't necessarily know that I would say Last Command is a better album. I just have more experience listening to that one.
Okay.
That was the first one that I kind of got really into.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing for me, since I am of a later generation, all this heavy stuff was already out. So I've already experienced like the heaviest of heavy. So listening to stuff like that, it's like, oh, that was actually pretty good, even though it's not like crazy, brutal, like, you know.
I mean, but when you think about it, 1984.
That was at the time.
Yeah, I mean, that was
exactly.
like, because even Ride the Lightning hadn't come out yet.
Yeah.
So it was just
that
like,
came out 2 years before Linkin Park's new singer was born.
Yeah. So I mean, like, so many of the songs on there, you know, I love this songs like On Your Knees, Sleeping in the Fire. I love those songs. And
yeah, they're catchy. I was singing like some of the hooks and stuff in my head.
And the cool thing is for this fall when W.A.S.P goes out on tour, they're gonna do that whole album from front to end.
That's dope.
So
Blackie, fun fact though, I mean, a lot of people know this. Blackie went Christian.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we move on, let's go a little deeper into the weeds and look at their Wikipedia for a second, because, you know, why not? W.A.S.P is an American heavy metal band formed in 1982. They emerged from the early 1980s Los Angeles heavy metal scene. The band's popularity peaked that decade, yet they continued to record and tour. W.A.S.P gained notoriety for their shock rock themed stage lyrics and live performances. They have sold over 12 million records worldwide, with their first two albums, W.A.S.P and The Last Command, being certified as gold by the RIAA. W.A.S.P was a target in the mid-1980s of the PMRC.
And is it all the original members still?
No. He's the only one.
Okay.
Blackie Lawless is the only current original member. Chris Holmes is still alive, and he's
that
around.
The blonde guy?
Yeah,
the
the
guy that
blonde
was
guy.
in
He's got his own solo project.
Yeah. He looks pretty beat up, man. I saw
he
footage
does.
of him, and he, like, the alcohol really fucking did take years off his life. So W.A.S.P began following the demise of Circus, a Los Angeles-based band featuring Blackie Lawless and Randy Piper. The band became notorious for its raunchy and at times shocking live shows. They used to throw meat too, right? Like raw meat.
Yeah.
Lawless was known to tie semi-naked models to a torture rack and also to hurl raw meat into the audience. The band's debut single, entitled Animal Fuck Like a Beast, and its cover were equally controversial. So anyway, W.A.S.P, legendary.
Yeah. Very much a legendary band, and very, very influential in my life, you know, growing up. Like, I remember like them coming out when they came out with that stuff, and it was like, holy shit, this is badass. These guys are for real, man. And then when your parents say you can't listen to them, it's like, oh, I'm going to listen to them now.
Totally. My mom used to take my dad's CDs that had like the parental advisory sticker and hide them. That's like those are like always the ones I would go get first.
They're the best ones too.
Yeah. Some of them were kind of weak too, like Porno Graffiti by Extreme. I'm like, dude, really? You're gonna hide that?
Yeah.
Because it has a song on it called, like, it has kind of a couple nasty names on it. But anyway, it's like, Mom, what's wrong with you?
Little did she know
making,
the internet would arise.
Right now, it's virtually impossible to shield your kids from that stuff. So you have to kind of just arm them with sensibility.
Yeah. So I would it's just a tribute. That's a tribute. This is a tribute to that awesome album to me. And I can't wait to see that whole show live. You know what I mean?